Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? The Saints were abysmal against Carolina. Arguably the worst performance of the Sean Payton era. The worst offensive performance by the yardstick of the Payton era. Fewer yards against Carolina on Sunday, 128, than any game in the Payton era since 2006. It was objectively awful. I picked the Saints to lose. I thought they would lose. I didn't think you could miss as many players as they had out and go win a game in the NFL. I did not think it would be as bad as it was. If you said, Matt, pick one thing that is a shining light, a glimmer from what we saw on Sunday, I would tell you Saints rookie first-round draft pick, Payton Turner. Payton Turner made his NFL debut. He was a healthy scratch in week 1, but Payton Turner got out there against Carolina, and obviously they needed him. With Marcus Davenport being injured, we saw a lot of Carl Granderson. We saw a lot of Payton Turner. And in his NFL debut, Payton Turner made his presence felt. On the day, 5 tackles. He did have a sack in the ball game and 3 tackles for loss as well. Pro Football Focus does their player grades, and of the rookie pass rushers, Payton Turner, his pass rush proficiency by far blew away every other first round, every other rookie pass rusher from this past weekend. So I'm encouraged. Small sample size, 1 game, but I'm encouraged by Payton Turner to get out there and to show that he physically clearly belongs. I mean, there was this question, you get this young guy from Houston, how much can he really transition? How much do you really know about him? Doesn't have a great resume of film out there and playing in the American Athletic. Will he be able to transition? A lot of people had Marcus Davenport vibes. Be it the bull rush, the swim move, the ability to stay firm against the run, Payton Turner was really good. I mean, he was really good. And that's a guy that can play, as we've seen, both inside and out. So if you asked me what's the positive, it was Payton Turner, the guy that you invested a first-round draft pick in this year's draft. And a lot of people looked and said, why did you pick a defensive end from a small school? Well, his first time out there certainly showed that the stage wasn't too big for him, and that was encouraging. And I would say the other part of it is, as a whole, the Saints' run defense, I thought, was good. Carolina ran it 33 times for 89 yards. They averaged just 2.7 yards a carry. So, without David Onyemata, without Quan Alexander, without Marcus Davenport, without those 3 starters in your defensive front 7, you still were elite against the run, which is what this Saints team has been since Ryan Nielsen has been the defensive line coach and since Dennis Allen came back to be the defensive coordinator. They've just decided that's going to be an attitude, and they're going to be great against the run. And even in spite of all of the issues they had defensively against Carolina, even in spite of being on the field for nearly 39 minutes in the game, they were still strong up the middle and strong against the run. So if you asked me for a positive, singular, one positive, that's it. And when you look forward, you know you're going to get Davenport back after 3 weeks. You know you're getting David Onyemata back as well after his 6-game suspension. So week 8, you'll get David Onyemata back. Like, you are going to get even better on that defensive interior. It's why I keep stressing over and over again. I know the cavalry is coming. Michael Thomas is going to be back. David Onyemata is going to be back. The guys that are on IR right now, Will Lutz is going to be back. Quan, Davenport, they're all going to be back. You just got to keep yourself in the fight. You got to keep yourself in the race until they all come back. So as much as Sunday against Carolina sucked, it was just one. And my thing all along has been just be above 500 going into the bye. I think they're going to beat the Giants at home. It's, can you win at New England or win at Washington? If you can do either of those 2 things, You get the 3-2 going into your open date, and I feel much better. Sean Payton, by the way, just as bad as it was, still after the game complimented his defense.
Again, I thought they battled hard. They were on the field a lot. And if you were down on the field, you felt the temperature and the amount of snaps that they had early. It just it's not the formula that you need to win games.
A big part of that, of course, the part of that was the Saints' offensive complete inefficiency. They were ineptitude might even be the better word. New Orleans on the day, just 128 yards offensively. Jameis Winston was objectively awful, as was every other part of that offense. But Jameis Winston was also pressured more than any other quarterback this league, and only more than all but two quarterbacks in any game since 2009. ESPN Stats and Info puts out this pressure stat, and they determined that Winston was pressured on 18 of his 28 dropbacks. That was a 64% rate. That's the highest pressure rate in the NFL and the third highest rate any quarterback has faced since 2009. Now, it's on Jameis Winston with how he deals with that pressure, and he did not do a great job. He threw two very bad interceptions, including the one heave at the end of the first half, which cost the Saints an opportunity at points. They would have been within Rosas' range for a field goal if he had just thrown it away. Instead, he threw it up for grabs, threw a pick, and that was terrible. Winston did say after the game that he'll take this and chalk this up as a learning experience with this loss to Carolina.
Well, I think rhythm is a big part of offensive success. So we will find that. We will find a way to play the football that we like to play, and we're going to learn from this one.
Now, for anyone who today is saying, you see, I told you, he's turnover prone, he's a mistake machine, he hasn't changed at all, I would say you're a coward because you didn't say anything a week ago when they played great against Green Bay. The same reason I didn't make any declarative statements after the win over Green Bay is the same reason I'm not going to make any declarative statements today about Jameis Winston or about this team as a whole. The most predictable part of this game was going to be the issues protecting without Eric McCoy. We talked about it all last week. Not only did Ruiz move over to center, but then you have Throckmorton and a guard. And while those guys played well in a pinch against Green Bay and everything was going well for you, with a week to prepare, give Carolina a ton of credit. They completely took advantage of the Saints' deficiencies on the offensive line. But I also know you add Michael Thomas to this offense, you get Eric McCoy back at center, you kick Ruiz back to guard, you have Marquez Callaway, who I think is a really talented receiver, is going to be a very good player, but is going to be better when he's a complement to Mike Thomas instead of being the guy. I think what you saw yesterday is going to be the low watermark. God help us if it's not. But 128 yards, just 7 points, held scoreless through three quarters for the second time in the Payton era. I think that's the low watermark. And every team in every league every year plays its best game and its worst game of the season. It's just a fact, right? I mean, every team is going to play its best game of the year and its worst game of the year. Maybe the Saints through 2 weeks have already checked both those boxes. Maybe they won't play as well again as they did against Green Bay, and hopefully they won't play as poorly again as they did against Carolina. Where do they settle? Is it closer to the Green Bay outing or is it closer to the Carolina outing? We'll figure that out as we move along through the season, but this is still a very talented team with a lot of football left to play. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.